stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by now. Here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show, and it's going to be a very somber edition of the JP Peterson Show. It's going to be somewhat angry. I will probably mirror what many of you Buck fans are feeling this morning as a Super Bowl dream turns into a ugly nightmare in front of the nation on Monday Night Football as Lamar Jackson torches your defense, but it's worse. You lose the two-headed monster that has driven you for years and had you on track to make a deep run into the playoffs. And now we sit here on a Tuesday morning, and it looks like the season may be over. We will talk about it. We'll welcome in our good friend IndyCar Tim Ham from our DSP affiliate in Dallas. How are you, my friend?
Good bleak morning this morning post game. I was up until about 2:30 local time here in Dallas, recording a podcast, a Bucs post game, and writing a couple of articles over there for Athlon Sports. Bucs.
The time I snuggled into bed myself.
Yeah.
And the highlight of my night.
Tell you what, it was a long night because I also do a live blog for the Bucs games for Athlon Sports, and that got real tedious and boring at some point early in the second half.
Oh, I bet.
When I saw this thing start to get out of hand, and it got ugly very, very quickly.
Yeah. So we're going to get into so many levels of this, and we will have a spirited debate because my counterpart here thinks that Todd Bowles was not to blame for last night's disaster. I will take umbrage with him in a very polite and fun way. And we'll go through, we'll dissect this entire game and where the Bucs go from here. I said the season is over and we may look back on it, and with 43 seconds left in an unwinnable game, you took a hit. You took a severe hit to a team that was on track to make a deep run. There's no question about that. By the way, Scott Reynolds is going to join us at 10:30 from the Pewter Report. Scott Hamilton will join us from the Charleston Post and Courier, sports columnist. He is the ACC, SEC college football insider who we're going to have on each and every week now as the playoff takes shape in college football. So appreciate him. Good, looking forward to chatting with him. And TJ Reeves, who was on the sideline for last night's debacle, will join us at 11:30. So we're all Bucs centric here, folks. We're going to do some lightning as well and talk some college football, but we're going to get into it. We invite your participation, obviously, in the comment section. You could do that on our YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe there, the JP Peterson Show and FanStream Sports. And also you can do that on X and you can do that on Facebook, and it will all show up here in our comment section. So
yes, sir.
Let's get it rolling. Last night had a chance to be a phenomenal night for the program, for the franchise. It was a beautiful stadium, an idyllic setting, 75 degrees, a beautiful night for football. Lamar Jackson and probably, I think, the best team in the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens coming in here.
JP, can I interrupt you for 1 second? I forgot something that I have to do right off the top of the show. It's very important. I would like to pour one out, say a quick prayer and quick drink to our friends, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and to the Bucs season here. I got to do this while it's still cold. That's why
Are you doing a fireball shot?
I'm doing a fireball shot at 9:05 local time. Yes, for our Bucs. I do this frequently on the Colby Sapp and IndyCar Tim show. Sometimes I roll through 12 of these during the show. So
holy
this is nothing for me.
Nikes.
Oh yeah, this is nothing for me. Just ask our buddy Johnny Gerber how many of these I go through at the studio. Not to mention the Jaeger machine that we have at the studio. So
that a boy.
Here's to our boys
and your liver.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, sometimes when you get a Pavlovian reaction to certain things.
Yeah,
my mouth was watering there a little bit. I was envisioning the taste of that fiery, sugary, cinnamony taste of Fireball going.
I almost put it in my coffee. I was like, no.
I was like, you know what? I oddly could do that right now. I'm like, I might have joined you on that. Yeah.
Well, I guarantee you a week from today, from this
honey,
point
can I get
forward,
a fireball, please? Can I? Thank you, honey. Appreciate it.
we're going to be doing plenty of
She brought me
fireballs.
this beautiful breakfast sandwich and my wonderful iced coffee,
nice.
as the lovely Ashley does each and every morning prior to this show. Who's got it better than me? Nobody.
Is she going to bring us breakfast at the studio next week?
Doubtful.
Damn it.
But yeah, I could use a pop right now. And last night for sure, no question about it. As I drove home, contemplating.
Cheers to you, Michael.
Listening to my good friend Scott Reynolds and Matt Matera do their post game show on the Pewter Report, their YouTube channel, because I had to turn off the radio because the post game show was literally the host saying 5 things, and then teasing the next segment and going to break, then coming back, saying 5 words about that, teasing the next segment. I got literally like maybe 30-second content followed by 2 minutes of commercials.
Oh, no. Who does the post game?
I swear to God, they're nice people.
Sure, no, we're not bashing anybody.
But it's like that's a post game show. Like I know he's just trying to get out of the studio. I've been there and I've done it. But he says it's like basically they say, okay, you got to get 7 breaks in here. I don't care how long the show goes. You just got to get 7 breaks in here. We got to run the Baker and the Bowles audio and get the hell out of here.
All the audio,
He was literally like, my play of the game coming up next. Break. My play of the game is this. Coming up next, Baker. I'm like, I'm going to turn on the Pewter Report show.
I'm guessing the play of the game was the first touchdown pass to Evans, right? That was it.
That was it. And not much more.
By the way, they're saying that's where he tweaked his hamstring, was on that touchdown catch.
No, his hamstring was already tweaked.
Right.
Part of my monologue.
Yeah, he's been dealing with it all week.
Oh, because Baker underthrew him. No, that's where the ball needed to be thrown.
Yeah.
If he throws it any further down, the safety gets in the play. He threw it right in the honey hole. Perfect. And Evans made a great adjustment to it. I mean, Baker, Baker got him hurt. I'm like, shut up. You have no idea what you're talking about. He's got to sit down in that hole. That was a perfect throw and a perfect catch and everything. And look, if a guy's going to injure himself catching a football, maybe he shouldn't be playing.
Right.
Maybe he shouldn't be playing. Maybe he should wait till next week when the game really counts.
We talked about it last week. We talked about it
yesterday, and I said this. I said, why is Mike Evans playing in this game? I mean, that's a real decision that has to be made. And I said yesterday, look, the coaches know a hell of a lot more than me. They see him in practice. They talk to the player. They get feedback. And they determined that he should play in this game. I think it was a mistake. I think it was a terrible mistake because next week is a must-win against Atlanta. And with 6 minutes and 30 seconds left in the game, down 24 points, and you can't stop the other team. That's the key to this. You can't stop the other team. The last 7, 8, 9 possessions, they've scored on every one except I think maybe one. You can't stop this team. So even if you score, if they want to, if they need to, they're just going to hand it off to that train behind them in 22, and they're going to score. The game is over. With 6 minutes and 30, the game is over. Understand that as a football coach. And it's you saying in the back of your head, well, if we'd have just, started running the football at that point, I would have got criticized. Yeah, dumb people would have criticized you. If you're worried about dumb people criticizing you, you shouldn't be an NFL coach. You should go to the podium and go, look, I'm all for giving it the old college tribe. We could not stop them. And I got a huge game next week. And I've already lost my star receiver. I'm not losing anybody else. Okay? Come to the podium and say that. And if anybody criticizes you, they don't know football. This is why you got to be your own man. You got to be strong in your convictions. And sometimes Todd Bowles, I think, waffles. I think and I think one of the main reasons he did this last night is because he took heat for not calling a timeout in the Detroit game and making them do something at the end of the game that they should have done. That shouldn't lead to needless reps for a team that is already beat up. And you have a bigger game next week. Lose the battle, win the war. Come on, you're smarter than that, Todd. Mike Evans should not have been playing last night because and after he tweaked his hamstring on the first touchdown, get him the hell out of the game. What are we doing? This is an AFC team. You're probably going to lose anyway. Now, I know at that point it's 14-10. It's 10-0. You feel very confident, and you should feel confident. But as the game wears on, and again, this is not second guessing. I said this yesterday on the show. Mike Evans should not be playing in this game. You have to make, unless you determine that he's healthy, and clearly he was not. He hasn't been healthy all week. It's a hamstring. It's an injury that has been chronic to him. Next week is way more important. The Atlanta Falcons have already beaten you. You cannot lose two to a division rival and still think you're going to get the only playoff position that's going to be available in your division, which is winning the division. This is ego. Monday Night Football. The Ravens are here. Super Bowl preview. We need to go out and do everything we can to win this game. No, you don't. Be smarter. This is especially at that point. I mean, it's at the end of the third quarter, we pretty much knew this is over. You can't stop them. And we'll get to that in a minute. Why you can't stop them. I mean, this to me is coaching malpractice. And Todd has been, we said this, look, if something's going to hold this team back, I said it at the beginning of the season. As we had Camp Kumbaya, I'm like, they have addressed every need they have as best as they could, and I think they did a damn good job. This could be a really complete football team. Of course, you got to stay healthy. That's always the caveat with every team, and especially with the Bucs, because obviously they're thin coming off the salary cap hell. They got a lot of young players. So at that point, listen, man, you everything was going your way. Manage the season. Manage the game. And Todd is just not good at this. And I love him as a human being. I really do. I saw him in the locker room last night, walking out. I was kind of walking next to him, and I wanted to say something, but it's like it's almost like, what do you say to somebody who just lost their best friend? You just hug them, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't think that would be appropriate, but I wanted to because he looked so freaking distraught. Dude needed a hug. Would have been inappropriate. Kind of like your Fireball shot, but that's okay. We love that.
Inappropriate. It was delicious.
I'm kidding.
I know.
I'm trying to add a little levity to this debacle of a situation. But I felt bad for the guy because he knew he effed up. And he came to the podium, and Scott Reynolds pressed him on it. And he's like, the game was in the balance. We had gotten an onside kick. We could score a quick one, get another on. Game is over. It was over with 6 minutes left in the game. Over? Did you say? Yes, I said over.
It's not over till we say it's over, JP. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Yes, it was over. It was over.
Todd Bowles calling me right now.
Yes. So I think that's coaching malpractice on two levels. Listen, you make coaching decisions all day long. He probably made in the course of a day 200,000 different coaching decisions yesterday. They're all not going to be right. I get that. But you can't miss on the big ones. You can't miss on the big ones. I could have some issues again with timeouts at the end of the first half. I don't think they used them in a forward-thinking, aggressive manner to try to get that extra possession. Whatever. That's nitpicking compared to leaving Evans out there even after he tweaked it early on in the game. And it just you have to understand where you are. You're at 4-2. You have an AFC team coming in here. These AFC games, when things come down to a tiebreaker, it's going to be division record, conference record, head-to-head against the Atlanta Falcons. That is the game. That is the game. That's not smart football. Especially with 6 minutes left. And unless you didn't watch the game, did you happen to see that the Ravens were knocking the shit out of your players, especially in the secondary?
Poor Cade Otton.
Good God, he's still
an
in
ice
the
bath
ice
today.
bath. I mean, it was just you're just sitting there going like on every pass, and they know you got to throw. They're sitting back in zone and lining them up. They're just lining them up. Dude, get your freaking guys out of the game. You got Falcons next week at home, a game you can't lose. Get them the hell out of the game. Not with minute left to go. Damn sure shouldn't have been on the field with a minute left. He should have been off the field with 6 minutes to go. Kyle Trask, here you go. Have at it. Come on, man. What are we doing? You lost your top 2 receivers. And I know it's football and guys get hurt, but you have to be better than this as a coaching staff and understand what the juxtaposition of games are. This is game management. This is season management. And I don't want to hear, oh, listen, you got to play to the last snap, to every play. They're taking a knee. You got to keep going after them. You're Greg Schiano, toes on the line. Shut the F up. This collegial, ego-driven has no place in a smartly run organization. This is a colossal malpractice. And it's not, when Bowles is obviously responsible, he's the head coach. But I'm sure there were a lot of other voices that went into this. And as an organization, somebody should have said, hey, man, white flag, bro. We gotta regroup. We got Atlanta coming in. And you never think ahead, focus on it. No. Be smart. I mean, it's if you want a war analogy, retreat, regroup, right? Gather your resources again and come back to fight another day. Every smart general does that. Know when you're beat. Get the hell out of there, regroup, and come back to win the war. Colossal failure on the part of Todd Bowles and the organization. I yield the rest of my time to you, my friend, to tell me how wrong I am.
All right, JP, this is going to be a deep dive. Okay. All right. So bear with me here.
You go get some Fireball.
Number one, go get your Fireball. I may go grab another one.
Let's go.
So, look, I am a fan of the you don't quit playing till the final gun. Now, I will admit there are times when you need to wave the white flag when things are completely out of hand. The Bucs went into the fourth quarter down 34-10. You had just recovered a Lamar Jackson fumble, and you scored a touchdown early in the fourth, right, to make it 34-18. So you're saying there's a chance. I get it.
And what did they do?
You're not going to pull any of your guys down 34-18 early in the fourth, right?
Right.
Well, unfortunately, right after you score that touchdown, what does Baltimore do? They go 70 yards in 8 plays, and they match the touchdown, 41-18. But the Bucs come back on 2 consecutive possessions and score touchdowns. So you're at 148 in the game, and you're down 10. That's when Godwin got hurt. If I'm a head coach, I'm not pulling my guys down 10 points with 2 minutes to play. And here's why against the Baltimore Ravens. Let's go back in the Wayback Machine, JP, to week 3. Baltimore Ravens at the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys hosting the Ravens. The Cowboys go into the fourth quarter down 28-6. They've done absolutely nothing to move the ball. They've kicked 2 field goals, 2 long Aubrey field goals. Baltimore has been scoring at will. However, Dallas scores a touchdown with 10:41 in the fourth. Very similar to the Bucs game to make the score 28-12. Dallas scores another touchdown. It's 28-18 with 8:53 left. After, by the way, the Cowboys recovered an onside kick.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL is 2 for 17 in onside kicks this year. Both of those successful onside kicks against the Ravens by the Cowboys and the Bucs.
Mm-hmm.
Something wrong with the Bucs because they know it's coming. I mean, it's not a surprise anymore with the new kickoff. The Cowboys hold the Ravens to a punt, a 3-and-out. Cowboys score another touchdown late in the fourth. 5:26 left in the fourth to make it 28-25.
The key there was they stopped them.
Stopped them, right?
They were 3-and-out. Yeah, the Bucs couldn't do that.
The Cowboys get the onside kick, make it 28-25, but then they can't stop because the Ravens get the ball back with 2:44, and they can't get the ball again. Look, that game was over going into the fourth quarter, 28-6. The Bucs game over going into the fourth quarter, 34-10. I get it. Bowles and his staff saw the Cowboys game, and they said, "Holy crap, guys, this is not over. We can do this." The Cowboys got close. We can do this. The Ravens defense is not great late in games. Unfortunately, the offense on Monday night was just outstanding. And Bucs, the Todd Bowles patented blitzes weren't working against Lamar Jackson. And they couldn't get a stop. But, dude, I understand why he's not stopping, why he's not pulling his guys. Because he has a blueprint already. They had to know this going into the game. They had to have watched tape of this, and they had to know. And so he's not going to give up. He's not going to pull his guys
at
down
6:32. At 6:32, you've in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They just go 8 plays, 70 yards, breezing, by the way. We're not even breathing hard.
Right.
It's 6:32. It's 41-18.
Right.
Okay. That is a what? 23 point lead. Yeah. That is a 3-score game. It is a legitimate 3 scores, actually a 5-score game. Because you got to score the 2-point conversion.
The 2-point conversion, yeah. Which they were doing.
Okay. Just the probability of losing that game is 0.01%. I'm not, and analytics aren't everything, but now, so I take that, the analytics, I got a 99.9% chance of losing this game. According to probability in the history of the NFL, the numbers say 99% chance of losing the game. Okay, fine. But you're saying there's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance. Okay. Okay, fine. Now, what's going on in the game? Now we take it from the analytics to what do my eyes tell me? Mm-hmm. My eyes tell me in the last since 12:29 of the second quarter, when it was 10-0, they have gone on a 41-7 run. Let me say that again. A 41-7 or to 8 run with 6 minutes left in the game. It's over. Get them out of the game. Get them out of the game. Run. Have Kyle Trask hand off to who's, I don't even know who's 4th on the depth chart. I don't think we had him dressed last night.
Brad Johnson.
Who knows? Doug Martin. Just hand it off to Doug Martin. I don't care. James Wilder, whatever it takes. Just get the hell out of here and let's go play Atlanta. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. It's 6:32, and Derrick Henry just caught the ball in the flat, wide ass open, nobody near him, and breezed into the end zone. Your defense sucks. You can't stop them. It's 41-18. Wave the white. And I was saying it at that point. Get Baker Mayfield out of the game because he's taking hits.
Yeah.
On those next 2 drives, he's getting turned into a pretzel. And by the way, I have to protect my quarterback from himself. That knucklehead will run through a wall down 41-18 because that's who he is, and that's why we love him. But this is where you got to be smart. You got to be smarter. Listen, football is a game of physicality. I get it. People get hurt. I understand it, which is so much more important. That you can't make grotesque mental errors like this in managing a game and in managing the season. You got to have a better feel for it. Open your eyes. Baltimore is just knocking the crap out of your receiver. They're sitting back in zone. And Kyle Hamilton just picking people off. I mean, it's just it's malpractice. Look what's going on. It's 41-18 for God's sakes. Don't give me this Tom Brady 28-3 malarkey. I don't want to hear it.
Tom Brady's not walking through those doors.
That's right. And it's Shanahan's not calling the plays for the Falcons or the Ravens. Jeez. Dropping back.
Look, I'm just saying, had Bowles pulled any of his guys, and you got to 41, 24 even in the fourth quarter, and he had already pulled Godwin, he had already pulled Baker, this morning he would be lit up.
I don't care.
By those same exact people for saying, why'd he give up so soon? They leave your guys in. You might have a chance.
Again,
you can't win as an NFL head coach.
I don't care what those people say. This is my team. I got to protect my players. I know what's important in this game, in this season, and that's next week.
Okay, what's the priority?
This is an amateurish, basic level decision. I'm sorry. This is the NFL. You know how this works with divisions and tiebreakers. I can see what's on the wall. Atlanta's schedule's not that difficult. I'm not saying they're a great football team, but you're beat up and you've just lost. It's not like you just lost a couple of players. You are Evans, Godwin dependent. This is what your offense is absolutely tailored around. And why shouldn't it be? They are two difference makers in this game. And by the way, you lost Tyke Smith as well, one of your key defenders. The game is over. You can't stop them. Get them the hell out of the game. And again, Mike Evans, that should have been, I know that's more hindsight 2020, and I don't have the information that they have. But certainly, after he tweaked the hammy early in the game, get him out. Get him out.
I do agree with that. Well, and what's funny, I don't want to get off this yet because I'm not done with this, but with the Mike Evans thing, the coaching staff knew that he had re-aggravated the hamstring on the touchdown catch. And so they even mentioned on the broadcast, Troy and Joe, that, look, they're just going to be using Evans 20 yards and in the red zone so he doesn't have to streak down the field and run on the hamstring. Then the very next play, what happens? He's streaking down the freaking sideline for a touchdown catch. But anyway, I agree with the Mike Evans thing. He should have come out of the game after his 100th career. By the way, kudos to Mike Evans for his 100th career touchdown. We haven't even talked about that. Joining a very short laundry list of Hall of Famers. To have that many touchdown catches with the same team, by the way. But you say Bowles' job is to protect his players. His job is also to win. So where do you draw the line? Where is the line of demarcation there between protecting his players and continuing to try to win the game? It was 34-10. If it's 34-14, is he still doing that?
It's 41-18, bro. 6:36 left, and you can't stop them. That's the whole key. You can't stop them. You can't catch up if you can't. If you feel like your defense is playing well enough and can get stops, all they got to do is sit around and hand it both to 22 or throw a screen past the 43. It's an automatic 15 yards.
Okay,
it's
so
easy.
But from a pure score standpoint, instead of 41-18,
Tim,
if it was 31-18.
It's not a pure score standpoint. It's not a pure score standpoint. That's my point. This is why analytics are silly sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
Analytics are based off numbers. How many times in the history of the game has the score been this?
Right.
With this much time left? That's all data driven. It's all data. They don't see if you're stopping the run, not stopping the run. You can't apply those things.
Right.
Okay. You have to. This is what coaches are paid for.
Right.
To go beyond analytics. Use their brain, calculate all of the universe and what's going on to make a smart decision for your football team. Atlanta next week, get them the hell out of the game. It's over. You can't stop them. It's 41-18. 41-18. Is that right?
It was.
It's over. It's over. Get them the hell out of the game.
See, and I don't want a coach coaching my team that gives up at 41-18 with 6 minutes left.
Well, then you're going to have a dumb coach.
It's not like the Bucs are now 2 games back. Dude, they're tied with Atlanta. You don't have
Yes,
the
and they don't
tiebreaker,
have Evans and Godwin.
but
for
you
the
don't
biggest
have the
game of the year.
tiebreaker. No, but what I'm saying is it's not like you're going to go down two games to the division leader in a division that you own the last 3 years. If you don't win the game, well, 3 years division, 4 years playoffs. But it's I don't want a coach that's going to throw the white flag down, 41 to 18 with 6 minutes. Look, they scored 2 touchdowns. They were this close, JP. Missed it by that much. Nobody's going to get that reference at all, but
get smart. Absolutely.
Thank you. Yes.
All right, speaking of get smart, let's bring in a man who will set you straight, Tim. I know this man. He's lining up on my
Scott,
side.
you got to be the voice of reason here for one of us because we're not agreeing and getting along here at all.
Oh, boy. What are we doing?
We're debating whether Chris Godwin and all the other players should have still been in the game last night. I got him as soon as Derrick Henry scores to make it 41-18 with 6:36 left in the game. I'm emptying the bench because the main reason we can't stop them. Yeah. We can't stop them. We haven't stopped them all night. Even if we score, they can just come back and hand it off and score again or eat clock. I mean, we can't.
My take is that Todd Bowles and his staff studied Cowboys week 3 versus Ravens when the Cowboys were down 25-6, came back and almost tied and won 28-25 with an successful onside kick, by the way.
Yeah.
And even down 34-10 going into the fourth, I'm not going to start pulling players. I'm going to try to keep winning the game. And it's unfortunate that injuries happen, but it's part of the game. I get it. So who's right, Scott?
Okay. Well, some people have Lombardi. Some people have Walsh. Some people have Belichick. My coaching guru is Kenny Rogers, who once said after a loss, you've got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money when you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done.
There'll be time enough.
Every gambler knows that the secret to surviving is knowing what to throw away and knowing what to keep. Because every hand's a winner and every hand's a loser. Yeah.
The only...
You got to read the room. You got to read the room. And I agree with what JP is saying. Analytics has its place. Okay. But that is in a sterile lab environment.
Yes. You got to pocket 2-5 unsuited. Yeah. You're done.
Yeah. I mean,
you're done.
The Bucs, the real story of this game is the Bucs defense was atrocious and could not stop the Ravens. The Ravens punched twice. Okay,
let's blame the defense on the Godwin injury.
Well, it's part of the equation, Tim. It's part of the equation because you can score all the points you want, but you can't stop them. So it doesn't matter. Okay.
Right.
John Harbaugh knew the game was over. He took out Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry for the last 2 possessions. Took him out. They ran Justice Hill and had Josh Johnson at quarterback. He knew the game was over. Yeah. Todd Bowles needs to read the room and understand that the game was over. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. The objective, because we always talk about football and war kind of being, have parallel lines.
We're allowed to use those analogies on this show because we're adults.
Sure, yeah.
Right, go ahead, feel free.
The objective is to win the war, win the Super Bowl. Sometimes you lose battles along the way. All right.
Absolutely.
General Washington beat the British, right?
The Redcoats.
The Redcoats. He beat them. But he did not win every battle. No. And sometimes he knew when to walk away and knew when to run.
And when to cross the Delaware.
And you have to understand what's next. And this is a game management flaw by Todd Bowles, who is not good at game management. There's been enough evidence to suggest that. And I have stood up for Todd Bowles. I have stuck up for him when he has had great game plans and he has turned teams around. I have been the first to sing his praises. But you got to read the room. You lost Mike Evans. That was the turning point of the entire game. When he drops that touchdown, and I'm not blaming him for the drop, he blew out his hamstring. Okay, I'm not crucifying Mike for that. But when he dropped that touchdown, 3 plays later, Baker Mayfield throws an interception in the end zone, robs them of points. The entire stadium was deflated outside of the Ravens fans in attendance. and it totally shifted the momentum. And the Bucs defense was poor all night. They could not regain the momentum. You saw an elite team, the Baltimore Ravens, beat a good team, not a great team, a good team, because great teams go on runs. Great teams stack wins. The Ravens are an elite team. They've won 5 in a row now.
They're stacking wins.
Yeah.
They've gone from great to elite.
And let's not forget they started the season 0-2.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The Buccaneers are a good team. They're 4-3, and we'll see how good of a coach Liam Cohen is if he can figure this thing out and try to get through. I got to think Mike Evans has gone through at least the bye week, right? He's going to miss the next 3 games with that
Probably an
hamstring
IR,
injury.
4-game IR thing, right?
I would think so. Yeah. Right. And so then you've got to do whatever you can to manufacture drives and points and see if you can steal a win from Atlanta. You're going to lose in Kansas City on Monday night to Patrick Mahomes. Like, chalk it up. And then, you might have a chance against the 49ers, depending on how many bodies the 49ers have left available. Yeah. But right now, this is a kind of a 1-game season, and you got to do whatever you can to try to win that game. And the smart decision would have been to, as I said, at 10:28 when I posted on X,
you did
time to wave the white flag. You're down 17 late in the fourth quarter. You cannot afford another injury. Live to fight another day, and they didn't. You can beat the Falcons without Mike Evans. I mean, the task just got taller trying to beat the Falcons without Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And the thing too is, like, Todd should have known. He lost his ace chess piece, Antoine Winfield Jr., in like the second to the last play of the game in a blowout win over Washington.
Yes.
And I get.
I've said this before, Scott. Not to interrupt, but I've said this before watching games. Why are these guys still in the game? Todd plays these guys until that game is over. Get them the F out of the game. You have a full roster. It's just there's no sense in them being on the field.
And you don't. Okay, but here's the thing. It's like,
well, you have enough guys.
You have enough guys.
Right? Kyle Trask is ready to go.
You pull Winfield, you pull Godwin, you pull Baker, you pull Wirfs. The rest of them, they got to play because you only have 53 guys and 46 that were active on game days or whatever. It's 47. So, but and like I get Ryan Clark. He was taking umbrage at my questioning about Todd Bowles. He's a player. I get it. You sign up for 60 minutes to play. I get that. The head coach's job is to manage the game and ultimately protect the players from their own competitive nature.
Yes. And Baker's a key point. I mean, he's getting shots.
Yes.
I mean, and by the way, as I mentioned earlier, did you notice how the Ravens were taking shots, especially in the secondary?
Yeah,
they're playing zone and lining your ass up. They know you got to throw.
Yes.
And they know know where you're going in the seams, and you're going to pay. You're going to catch it, but you're going to pay.
Hey.
And with that as a backdrop, even more.
Down 17 points. And here's the thing. If the Bucs defense had shown any type of resolve, right, if they had stopped Derrick Henry, if they had created more than one takeaway, which was really just a bad play by Lamar Jackson, right?
Yeah.
If they had shown any semblance that they could be stopped, then maybe, this is a little bit more forgivable. But again, you got to read the room. Right. And I mean, here's the thing, too, like with Todd Bowles, what are you doing? You're down 17 in the fourth quarter. You elect to punt the ball. Right. You decline the 5-yard offside penalty on the punt. Now, instead of being 4th and 14, it's 4th and 9. It's 4th and 9 from the Ravens 44. You're on their side of the field. You're down 17 points.
Yes.
And you punt. Why? Because you think your defense is magically going to rise up and suddenly stop the Ravens? No.
They didn't get the punt either.
No. Derrick Henry ripped off an 81-yard run on your ass.
But that's another just total example of a guy that just not reading the room and not understanding the flow of the game.
Exactly.
Maybe because you're the defensive coach and you have
exactly
pride.
What it is.
We're going to stop them this time.
Yes.
This time we're going to stop them. No, you're not.
No, you're not. And you didn't. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, Todd Bowles and Ryan Clark and all these people, they're wrong because of what happened.
Yes.
Okay. It's like I understand process versus results. Like that has its place. At the same time, it's like results matter. Okay. You lost the game and you lost Chris Godwin. Period. The end. So it's when you gamble, you got to be prepared to lose. And when you go all in, the house might take all your money. And it's
Right.
like, man,
And look,
that's what's happened now.
This takes me to my next point and question for you, Scott. And JP just touched on it. I've never been a fan of a head coach serving as a coordinator. I don't care if it's offensive or if it's defense. I think it's a conflict of interest because the head coach is supposed to be thinking what's the best for the team.
Sure.
From an unbiased offensive or defensive standpoint, he can instruct the coordinators, hey, we're going to go, this is a 4-down territory, plan accordingly, or what, hey, I really want to blitz these guys on the next year, whatever.
Right.
But when you are the defensive coordinator and you're calling defensive plays for the entire game, your mind is not 100% on the game and what's happening. And by the way, should I call a timeout here? No, you have no idea because you're too busy calling defensive plays.
Listen, Mike Tomlin was a really good play caller. That's why he got the job. He had 1 year as a very good play caller in Minnesota. He got the job in Pittsburgh. He's never called plays since. I give a lot of credit to Raheem Morris, right? Who is not calling plays in Atlanta. Jimmy Lake is doing that. He's the head coach, the walk around guy. And you know what? I can almost see it if you're an offensive play caller more so than a defensive play caller, because the 3 and outs, they're going to sting a little bit more, right? And I just think you have a better feel for what's going on,
right?
On offense, when nothing's working. I think it's kind of apparent because you're getting turnovers, you're not putting points on the board, you're punting the ball, right? When it's defense, it's almost like, well, all we need is one takeaway. All we need is one momentum-changing play. And I mean, Zion McCollum almost had a very interesting touchdown, right?
Yeah.
But it didn't happen at the end of the day. Josh Capo wrote that it's coaching malpractice. Listen, man, at the end of the day, it might be. If this season spirals out of control, I mean, Todd Bowles is 61, and the Blazers, they want to win. The expectation is to at least win the NFC South again, if not do better than last year, which was 9 wins, or 10 if you include the win over the Eagles. This could have a very, very negative implication on Todd Bowles' future in Tampa. Because by all intents and purposes, that was a risk, a gamble that you simply did not have to take against an AFC opponent. You know what? I would forgive this a little bit more if this scenario happened next week against the Falcons with the division on the line. And God, we cannot get swept by Atlanta, because then it's just that's a huge hill to climb. I can almost forgive that. But you got 6 days staring down the road. And listen, man, general managers, they have to have one eye on this season and one eye on next season. And honestly, if you're a head coach, you got to have one eye on this game and one eye on the rest of the season.
Absolutely.
And you gotta like understand. You got to read the room and say your defense is not going to stop them. Every time Baker gets a touchdown or a field goal on the board, it doesn't matter. If the Ravens had kept Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and kept them in, and if they wanted first downs rather than just run the clock and punt, they could have got another touchdown.
Done whatever they wanted.
They could have done whatever they wanted to do.
Do you see how wide open the tight ends were? Do you see how easy it was to run? They just could drop it. The reason they went for it on fourth down.
Is J.J. Russell that bad? Is J.J. Russell that bad to where we can't just at least try him? No. I mean, KJ Britt, before the game, this is before the game. Before the game, and Pro Football Focus to me is not the end-all, be-all. It's not the Holy Grail. It's not the Bible. But, man, out of every inside linebacker, out of all 82 inside linebackers, do you want to have a guess where PFF has KJ Britt ranked?
Oh, God.
If you were to say 82, you'd be right.
82.
I'll give you that hint. Yeah, 82
Never saw that coming. And what's happened to Jordan Whitehead? How many times was he out of position last night? I've never seen him. That was horrible. Like, I'm talking 15 yards out of position multiple times. Like,
I don't necessarily want him lined up on Mark Andrews man-to-man in the end zone. He's giving away way too much size, but at some point,
it was a short field, and he was nowhere near Andrews on that touchdown catch.
Yeah, he got beat at the top of the route. He pushed him off, and that's what good tight ends do.
Listen, there's going to have to be like a pride check on defense.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to have to be a project, because guess what? This offense is not going to be scoring 30 points a game anymore. It's just not. But it's going to have to be like, hey, we got to hold teams to 20 or less to have a chance to win, because, this offense is not scored 30 without Mike and Chris.
Yeah.
And, there's some players that are not playing good on defense, and I'll just leave it at that. But we've talked about some of them.
Well, I want to dive into a little bit of that.
There's got to be a project, because
I think pride and scheme. Todd Bowles has got to figure this out. This has been a recurring theme. They cannot set the edge. I mean, I didn't break down the whole tape, but of most of the runs that I saw, Joe Tryon Shayanka's taking a ride. Anthony Nelson's taking a ride. Whoever's coming up on the outside to contain is not containing. That hurt their run defense. The guys are getting caught up in the wash inside because of those seal blocks on the outside. Linebackers can't get out there. That's a problem. This defense is not physical for the most part. I thought Diaby had some moments last night, but he gets beat on times, gets out positioned.
It's a front running defense.
Yeah.
These guys are front runners. When it's good, it's great, and when it's bad, it's awful, right? And it's like this defense is a hard time turning the ship around, right, to avoid the iceberg. And you know what? They were able to do that last week against a rookie quarterback and Spencer Rattler, a banged up Saints offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
You knock Chris Olave out of the game at the first drive. Rashid Shaheed tore his knee up. So maybe you feel better. All right. You shut him out in the second half. You score 27 points. This is the Ravens, man. This is probably the best football team right now in the NFL. I think if you give the Ravens and Chiefs a rematch right now, I'm putting money on the Ravens. Say what you want about Patrick Mahomes, but the Ravens are rolling right now.
This offense is unstoppable. Yeah. This offense, and I don't want to beat up the
Todd
Bucs.
Monken.
Yeah, defense too much, but he called a great game last night.
Everything worked.
Justice Hill screen,
everything worked.
Right on the Tyke Smith blitz.
Yep.
He really called a good, and that's not by accident. He didn't get lucky. He knows what the tendencies are. He outcoached.
Smart.
And what tight end wide open over the middle. I mean, Who was the little quarterback at Georgia? What was his name?
The little guy.
Oh,
the national championship guy.
Sterling Bennett.
Yeah. He won a national championship with a walk-on quarterback. Come on. Sterling Bennett.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good coaching, man. That's good
Todd
coaching.
Monken's a great coach. And
he's a great coach.
Coach Bowles last night.
Oh God, it was
Well, look what happened to Georgia when he left.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. I mean, their offense is good, but they ain't Todd Monken good like they were.
No,
the two-time national champions.
Oh, no doubt.
By the way, you guys want a real quick list, Scott, of current available wide receiver free agents?
Let's do it. I want to.
Yes.
Yeah.
See if this does anything for you.
All right.
Michael Thomas.
Pass.
Hunter Renfrow.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Corey Davis. Julio Jones. Alex Erickson. Lynn Bowden. Randall Cobb.
Pass.
Richie James.
Yeah. There's no saviors on the street in September, and we're into October. So
Mark, I think I saw Valdez-Scantling signed just yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Signed it. Yeah. So but listen, we've also seen Devontae Adams traded, Amari Cooper traded. Is there somebody out there?
Maybe.
I'll make you a deal for CD Lamb.
I was going to say, there's somebody who's not doing anything these days.
Here's the thing. If you're Jason Light, first of all, if you make a trade tomorrow for a receiver, they're not going to help you on Sunday beat the Falcons, right? I mean, look at Devontae Adams reunited with his quarterback, right? And he had no impact in that Jets loss.
What a spark that was!
Right,
3 catches, 30 yards.
Exactly, and he's one of the best receivers in the game, right?
On 6 targets, by the way. On 6
targets. Exactly. That's my point. So you're not going to have anybody coming in here and saving the day for you on Sunday against the Falcons. And if I'm Jason Light, I'm looking at this and saying, all right, we're going to have to win with our coaches. Todd's going to have to, outcoach Zach Robinson and beat Kirk Cousins. And Liam Cohen is going to have to ride that pony. And and use two backs. At least this team can run the ball. My God, man. At least this team has some
By the
balance.
way, why was Rashad White getting more carries?
I
Why
disagree
is he
with
getting
that.
a carry in the fourth down when you're down 24 points?
I disagree
quarter?
with that.
You're down 24 points.
You know what? Put him at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean,
I think
one of your best
I think
options right now.
he might be one of your best
move him
options
to
right
the
now.
slot.
Yeah.
Why would you not move him to the
Rakeem
slot?
Jarrett's coming back. Who knows if that's going to do anything. The Bucs. Here's the thing: Liam Cohen is going to have to just cobble together some sort of offense, and he's a smart guy. We're going to find out how smart he is. He is trying to win a fight with both hands tied behind his back now. So we'll see if the headbutts and the knees to the groin are going to be effective enough to beat the Falcons, because that's all he has: headbutts and knees to the groin. His hands are tied right now behind his back. But if I'm Jason Light, I'm looking at this Falcons game and saying, if the Bucs can beat the Falcons and avoid the sweep, then maybe you make a move. Your chances of winning the NFC South are still alive. And guys, that might be the only playoff path this year for the Buccaneers. Don't look now, but in the NFC North, you got 4 teams with winning records right now. Yeah. So they could be a situation where you have a division winner and 2 wildcard winners out of the North, and the only team making it in the South is the division winner. So if I'm Jason Light, I'm waiting to see the outcome of the Falcons game. And if they get swept by the Falcons, then you just let the season ride out. You save your draft picks and see what happens. But it's not going to be pretty from now until the bye week. The only chance they have of winning a game, I think, is this Falcons game.
Yeah.
And it ain't looking good.
This can get real ugly real quick.
It can get real ugly real quick, and then this team might be 4-5 at the bye. And and then there's some winnable games. Maybe you get Mike back, and maybe you
see. This is the point, Scott. I think with the soft schedule at the end of the year, you have a chance here. I think you still very much have a chance to do something this season. And listen, I don't know who it is, or there's mentioning Cooper Kupp, who's still kind of banged up and has a lot of money left on his contract. I think that's a little bit too risky.
Yeah.
But
Cooper
there may
Kupp's
be
like 32 years old too. I think he's older than Mike.
Yeah, that's a tough contract to swallow the guaranteed money for the next 2 years. The guy can't get on the field. Yeah. So I don't think that's an option. But there may be some other options out there, and I think it's worth exploring because of the soft schedule that you have. And if you can get Mike back, and I don't know who that guy is, but if he's a solid number 2 or a number 1 receiver, like I said, we just saw 2 traded. So let's not say that there's no Amari Coopers or Devontae Adams out there. There still might be, and there's a lot of good receivers in this league, by the way, a lot of good ones that may be phased out and that are already phased out because their team sucks. So I think it's worth exploring, and I think they've got some cap room now. And this is complete blasphemy a day after losing Chris Godwin. So I'll take a deep breath and say, of all one of my favorite Buccaneer players of all time, Chris Godwin. I've always said he's a top 5 receiver in the league because of all the things he does. And by the way, the running game's taking a hit too with Chris Godwin going out. He's the best blocker by far. He seals on the edge. He's a huge part of the running game. So that screws you as well. That being said, I would invest some draft capital if I could get a right guy who will not be just a rental and will maybe take the spot of Chris Godwin if he can't come back from this injury. I know it's blasphemy to say.
No, it's not. I mean,
you had to make a move after the season anyway. You were either going to have to pay him or go find somebody else, draft a player or whatnot. We thought Jalen McMillan would be that guy, right? And we're not writing him off, but we haven't seen it yet.
That's right.
So I think you need to go get an experienced guy and somebody. I think that can save your season with this. And then if Mike can come back late in the season, you go into the playoffs. You got whoever this guy is. You got 2 good guys. It ain't Godwin and Evans, but it's 2 good guys. Hopefully your defense comes around. Maybe you add a player there, Myles Garrett. I don't know.
I mean,
we got a lot on the wish list. I don't think this season is dead. Do you see a way forward? Paint a picture to Bucs fans like this is how this season is saved.
This is how the season is saved. If they can somehow beat the Falcons, then I think Jason Light could be prompted to move into action to go get a wide receiver. If they lose to the Falcons, I don't see that happening. I think they're going to let the situation ride out. It doesn't mean they're throwing in the towel. It just means that, again, if you're a general manager, you've got to have one eye on this season and one eye on next season and the future. That's the nature of being a general manager. A head coach cannot think about next year. He may not be here next year. The head coach has got to think about this game and the rest of this season, right? Managing like how this thing, comes together and how you finish, how you win the war, not the battle, the war. So the soft part of the schedule is coming up after the bye week. And even if you're 4-5, I think Todd Bowles, he's got to fix this defense though, because the defense is half the problem. The other half is not having Mike and Chris. Right. But this defense is half the problem. And so that has to be fixed. That's on him. There are enough capable bodies and playmakers. He's got to get back to playing chess and stop playing checkers, because he's playing checkers right now and it's costing his team. So having said that, this is a business. When Chris Godwin was injured back in 2021, he was 25 years old. Okay. And he turns 26 in March. That year, in March, they gave him a 3-year, $60 million contract worth $20 million apiece. They believed in Chris and they invested in Chris and they did it. And you know what? It paid off for him and the team, right?
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
he turned into that. He was that 1,000-yard receiver. And this was the best version of the guy that they re-signed for 3 more years in the 2022 offseason when he turned 26. Here's the problem. He's 28 now. He's going to be 29 in March. Okay. As painful and as awful as the NFL business side is, I think that this team can look Chris in the eye and say, we believed in you. We trusted you. We helped you out before.
Yeah. Yeah.
At 29, I don't know we can make that level of commitment again.
Right. Right.
And we'd love to have you back on a 1-year prove it deal. And it might be $10 million. It might be 12. It might be 15. I don't see Chris Godwin coming off a dislocated ankle at 29, fetching anywhere near the $20 million that he was making this year. And I don't think the Buccaneers should invest in paying that price.
Long term.
Yeah. It has to be a 1-year deal, because it took Chris a couple years to get back. That first year, remember, his first year back in 2022, he had 1,023 yards. He averaged 9.8 yards per catch. That was a career low for him. He had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, no explosion to get. To get
he was serviceable. That was when he was 26 years old. Now he's going to be 29 years old, and I feel good if I'm Jason, if I'm Mike Greenberg, if I'm the Glazers. We took care of you, Chris. We believed in you. We did it once.
Yeah,
can't do it again. We can bring you back. We can talk about a 1-year deal and what that looks like. You can go out and get your number. We'll match it. And nobody wants to hear that, but it's like sometimes like you have to look at the business side, and we're looking at the Buccaneers not just for the rest of this season, but next year too. I mean, this still got Baker Mayfield under contract for 2 more years. You got to give him some weapons.
Yeah, that's right.
He's got to have guys that can make plays, and we'll see. I mean, I believe in Chris. I think that he can come back, but at 29, how much can he come back and how fast can he come back? That I don't know, and nobody knows.
All right. Anything else grab you last night that you want to get off your chest from last night's game?
No. Oh, the creamsicle game's coming up. Yeah,
yes,
that's a lot of fun.
Yes,
yeah.
The curse of the creamsicle.
Curse of the creamsicle
came early.
Yeah, it did. Well, I mean, it got up early. Can we say that? The creamsicles got up early on the Buccaneers. And now the Bucs are trailing.
I guess we're going to need some creamsicle mojo next week.
They're trailing heading into the creamsicle game. The creamsicles are ahead, and they're beating the Buccaneers, and the game hadn't even started.
That's how bad it is. That's how bad it is.
Yeah. And listen, it's like I like the creamsicles. I think they look cool and stuff. But man, there's a reason why
1-6
they were buried.
We're 1-6, right? In the creamsicles. Yeah. That's in the throwback. Now, if you throw in the actual regular seasons in the creamsicles,
it's bad.
You're the worst franchise in sports.
Yeah,
like you literally have the lowest winning percentage in the history of sports.
The Glazers do listen to their fans. They're very fan conscious, right? So much so that we're not going to see the pewter jerseys this year. The pewter jerseys have been backburnered. That's now the seldom used alternate jersey.
Those are the worst.
Well, I like him because, I mean, it's pewter, right? We like pewter at Pewter Report. We just do.
Nobody uses pewter power anymore.
They don't, because they didn't do too well in those jerseys either, if we're being honest. But the thing is I just wonder, like, it was a long-awaited return. There was a lot of fanfare last year. They made a big deal about it. They sold a shit ton of jerseys and merchandise and stuff. But how quickly will that orange and white faucet get turned off if we see them get blown out by the Falcons? And now, you've lost in 2010, 11 and 12 and 23 and now 24. That would be 5 straight losses since you brought them back in 2009 when the Josh Freeman, Raheem Morris Buccaneers beat Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
No bueno.
So,
all right, Scotty, great stuff as always, my friend.
Appreciate
Tell
it.
everybody how they can get your great content. I listened to you guys on the way home last night.
Appreciate it. We have a podcast coming up today at 4:30. We have to bump back our time a little bit because Todd Bowles wanted to have his press conference at 4 o'clock today. Okay, fine, Todd. We'll back it up for you.
Shot at you guys.
It might be. maybe they don't want me asking questions. So let's do it at 4 o'clock when Reynolds is on the podcast.
Well, they normally do it at 10:30 while I'm on, so they escaped me. Now they got you, right?
Right.
So they'd rather run from you.
Yeah. So 4:30 we'll be doing the post-mortem of the Todd Bowles press conference, breaking it all down, latest injury news about this team, and talking about what's ahead, and we'll have our preview show for the Bucs Falcons game on Wednesday, tomorrow's show at 4 o'clock. So you can check it out at Pewter Report TV. We finally hit 16,000 subscribers. So appreciate the Pewter people for coming out. And you can also read all of our stories at pewterreport.com. Josh Capo's got a tremendous article about the Bucs coaching malpractice. You can follow us on social media, X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report.
Great stuff. Yeah. Great hair, too, by the way.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, we got to take a quick break here because we missed our break in the first hour. So thanks to the G's Law Group and all our great sponsors. We got Scott Hamilton on deck, ACC, SEC College Football Insider, Charleston Post and Courier Sports columnist. Quick break. Stay with us. We've had a lot of fun with the monthly birthstones, and October is no different, where the birthstones are opal and tourmaline. All the colors of the evening sky are captured in the mysterious shifting hues of opal, and tourmaline has a color palette for every mood. Did you know that opals have been cherished for centuries, associated with royalty and good fortune? Tourmaline was once thought to protect against evil and enhance spiritual connection, adding to its allure. And during the 40th anniversary, you could find a special selection of this precious gemstone, from stunning rings and necklaces to elegant earrings and bracelets. Of course, Steve Weintraub handpicks every piece for its brilliance and quality. The expert staff will help you find the perfect gift, whether it's for a loved one, a special occasion, or a treat for yourself. Visit the Gold and Diamond Source today, where you'll always find the perfect gift. It's more than jewelry, it's love. Hey, it's football season, so we welcome back the FSU Football Report every Monday and Friday on the J.P. Peterson Show, sponsored by those huge FSU fans at Italiano Insurance. They'll save you money as well. Just do a quick insurance checkup, 813-877-7799. They just saved me $500 on homeowners insurance. Who's doing that? Yeah, they just shopped it around, found a better, cheaper company, and we got a cheaper price. And business insurance. Make sure you're covered or you could lose your personal wealth. That's 813-877-7799. ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Noles.
Hey Tampa Bay sports fans, this is two-time LPGA major champion Jane Geddes here. After winning the US Open and 10 other LPGA events, I wanted to try something completely different. So I came right off the top turnbuckle and landed in the crazy world of WWE. And yes, you heard that right. That's WWE. Working for the Vince McMahon as the VP of Talent Relations for the company. Now, though, I want to work for you. Everything I've done in my life, I've done with incredible passion. And now I've turned my focus to leading the best real estate team in Tampa Bay, the Geddes Gordon Group with Keller Williams in South Tampa. If you're looking for a new home, an investment property, or looking to sell your current home, we will give you major championship level service. When you choose Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of our inner circle, like family. So if you're looking for a few golf tips or a golf course view, we're going to stripe it right down the fairway. Call me at 813-485-6808 or go to gettysgordongroup.com, or again, give me a ring at 813-485-6808.
JP here for Third Generation AC and Plumbing. And Third Generation really says it all, folks. The owner, my friend John Rodriguez, has been in the AC and plumbing business since 1995. They built their business on honest assessments and doing great work on time for a great price. Simple, right? Did you know many AC techs are incentivized on big commissions to sell new AC units, and you might just need a drain cleared? So if you want someone you can trust, that's John Rodriguez in Third Generation Services. Check out the 5-star Google reviews. If you have a plumbing or AC emergency, call 813-961-8024 and a human will answer the phone. That's 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, one of South Tampa premier traditional Italian restaurant. We were recently voted number 3 on Open Table list of Tampa Bay's top 10 restaurants. We're very proud of that because we take great care of preparing each dish by hand with homemade sauces, pastas, only the freshest local ingredients. You won't see the big institutional vendor trucks pulling up to our back door. We get our seafood from local vendors. Sometimes I even drive out to Topper Springs and pick out our daily catch right off those boats. So stop by and say hello. Try our traditional lasagna, the fresh veal, some of our signature dishes like capelli al granchio, that is angel hair with lump crab meat, our branzino, that is a sea bass. We're located at 4205 South McDill, and you can make a reservation on Open Table and read all the great reviews. See you soon. Ciao. Grazie.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show right here on FanStream Sports at fanstreamsports.com, the FanStream Sports mobile app for iOS and Android. Go download it for free today to get all of our great live recorded programming on the go. Take with you 24/7, as well as the FanStream Sports YouTube channel and the JP Peterson Show YouTube channel. We're just full of channels and full of outlets here for you, right?
Content, baby. Content.
JP
We're in a
Peterson
content
Show.
business.
We're full of content. Speaking of full of it, we'd like to welcome in our next guest here right now. He is Scott Hamilton. He was the co-host or the host of the Scott Hamilton Show right here on FanStream Sports. He is the sports columnist at the Charleston Post and Courier. He's the guy that Paul Feinbaum calls when he needs to get a new take on college football. Welcome into the show, Scott. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? Y'all okay?
I hope that last part's not true, because if you're supplying Feinbaum's takes, we got issues. Absolutely.
He gets a little off the reservation sometimes. I'll say that. But
yeah.
he overall though, he's no Stephen A. Smith. Do you guys watch in the morning when those two are going at it?
Yeah.
I never watched Stephen A. Smith.
I watched every now and then. Yeah.
You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar. Don't lie to me, Tim.
Sounds like our show.
Don't
That's
lie.
what we do right here.
What do y'all want to talk about?
Well, I want to talk to you, Scott, about college football because I realized yesterday that we live in a world where Vanderbilt is in the top 25.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama is ranked behind Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
We may have a 12-team college football expanded playoff for the first time, and that 12-team playoff may not involve Alabama.
It might involve Army.
May not. Yeah, it may have Army and Navy in it. How do you like that?
Not Alabama.
My column today is, I do my top 25 rankings, and they come out every Tuesday, and I try to have a theme each week. 1 week I had ad slogans to kind of break it down. 1 week I had Taylor Swift songs. This week I had conspiracy theories.
Oh, nice.
Because we've never seen anything quite like this. This season has been so unpredictable, and the narratives have been just so out of it, left field, that the entire season is almost contrived. I mean, to Tim's point, Alabama's already got 2 losses. That's the Armageddon down there as it is. Army, Navy undefeated at this point for the first time since 1945. And there's a real good chance, as Tim said, that one of them makes the college football playoff. Iowa State is good. It's blowing my mind, and I love it. And part of it is because of this thing that we were so, I don't know, we had a love-hate relationship with conference realignment. A lot of it's the product of that, man.
Yeah.
Look at what we saw Saturday night with Georgia and Texas. That was primetime theater that we don't get if the SEC doesn't gobble up Texas and Oklahoma. Look at the Oregon Ohio State game. We don't get that unless Big Ten decides, hey, actually, we don't get it unless Southern Cal decides to stay where it is. Think about that.
Yeah.
I'm just loving this, man. I think it's a blast. And if I'm Texas this week, and I don't know if you guys watch SEC Shorts, I'm going to give them a plug right here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Vanderbilt is hosting Texas in Nashville this week. What happens if they beat the Longhorns, man? It's just going to be chaos. Because would that be their fifth win or their sixth win for Vanderbilt? I think it'd be their sixth to make them bowl eligible.
Six,
bowl eligible for the first time, I think, in 6 years. So
yeah, they're 5-2 right now.
I love it, man. Bring it on.
And we have A&M and LSU this weekend for the number one spot in the SEC. What the hell is happening? By the way, gig 'em, baby. Gig 'em.
That's right. Gig 'em. Or you got to do that little deal with the cheer guy.
No, we don't flip people off like that. Come on.
Yeah. Week one, and LSU was taking a loss in week one. That's as certain as the sun coming up in the east. It's going to happen. And I'm thinking, okay, this is the year that breaks Brian Kelly. This is the year that he finally says, you know what, I got to take my fake accent and my big buyout money and get the heck out of here. That he would have maybe left on his own because there's going to be a couple of good jobs open up north. But what we're seeing now out of LSU is a very good offense and a fully formed defense, which that's the big thing. LSU's defense has been so god-awful that's been its Achilles heel ever since Brian Kelly came to town. They look really good. In A&M, and we can run circles around this in a moment, think what A&M would look like right now if the A&M fan base, God love their hearts, I trust them now with anything, if they had it went bonkers when Mark Stoops was going to be the coach. They look pretty smart right now. They look way smarter than those nut jobs in Tennessee.
I'm happy with the decision. I didn't want Stoops here. I love the Elko hire.
I have
no problem with it.
But it was almost like, okay, we're going to take one coach from a basketball school. Then, okay, we don't want him. We're going to take another coach from a basketball school. And one of them actually had head coaching experience who had some success at said basketball school. The other one had been at the basketball school for only a minute in a very weak conference. But it's worked out fabulously. And Mark Stoops right now, if I'm the University of Kentucky, I'm really having buyer's remorse for giving him that extension, 2 years ago. When he talked to A&M and he, was already had one foot out the door, I shouldn't have went ahead and slammed the door shut and not let him back. That program's broken.
Imagine if A&M had taken care of business in week one against Notre Dame, where we'd be right now. Think everyone would be going out of their minds.
If LSU takes care of business against Southern Cal.
Yeah.
I mean, the earth would be crashing into the moon, and it would be insane.
Oh, JP, you're on mute.
Ah, come on, man.
My bad. At least Brian Kelly smashing his hand on the table in that fake way actually worked, evidently.
Gosh,
they really fired up his team. Gosh darn it. My best Tim Walsh. Gosh darn it. Yeah.
Like that.
I got to get your take on this, Scott, because I'm way too close to it. But this is what happened. What's happening at Florida State right now is unprecedented. It's unprecedented. We've never seen anything like it from a team that went not just 13-0, but won 19 consecutive games in college football. And you can talk about weak schedules all you want. Go look at those 19 games. There's quite a few SEC teams in there. It's unfathomable to watch a team that went 19 in a row now become the worst. And I do mean this in a very factual way. I can back it up with numbers. The worst team out of 132 in college football. It's never been seen before. I have all my reasons, but from where you sit, what is your take on this debacle in Tallahassee?
Well, first of all, I had shoulder surgery on this shoulder back in June, so I'm going to pat myself on the back with this one because last year I said that is not a good team, but they have a generational quarterback who covers up a lot of flaws, and I think that's one thing. The second thing is it shows the fallibility and the slight margin for error you have when you are constantly turning over the roster. I spoke to a longtime college defensive coordinator about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and we were discussing what's going on at Florida State. It's a culture problem. And it's not that they have a bad culture, but it's trying to inject that culture into all these guys coming from different places who were formed somewhere else. And now it's like trying to reshape them, but it's already down the road. Excuse me. And that's really hard to do. Some guys do it better than others, like a Lane Kiffin. He's really good at doing that. But the biggest part of that equation is being able to identify guys who are malleable, who you can work with, and who already maybe have a little bit of that culture mindset in you. Look, we use that word a lot, the C word, that culture.
Yes.
We use that word a lot, but it really is true. And I think it's more important now than ever that we've got name, image, likeness. We got the transfer portal, that players are getting all these rights that they were denied in the past. Because if you can't get guys on the same page, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And I think that's what we're seeing fail at Florida State. But we're able to see it succeed at places like Indiana because, a lot of those guys came from James Madison with Signetti, so they already knew the deal.
Exactly. That's that. He brought his culture with him and his players.
He brought his culture with him and his players, 18 of them, I think, something crazy.
Yeah.
But he was also able to identify players who already had those traits and would be more adaptable to that culture. Kevin O'Rourke, the quarterback from Ohio University of the MAC. He's the perfect prototype player for what they do at Indiana, schematically and culturally. Mike Norvell, he swung and he missed. He got lightning in a bottle last year.
Well, 2 years in a row, he hit the portal. He hit it. He drew well, and this was a complete whiff. Starting with the quarterback situation, I questioned this from the very beginning. If you've recruited a 4-star and a 5-star in Cromanhawk, and you don't get Cam Ward, you don't take the consolation prize. Unless you're getting a guy who's head and shoulders above everybody you got, you do not bring in and award a QB1. And you don't bring in a kid from Alabama and award him RB1 when he's not as good as Toafili. And I could say that about 6 more positions. And when you bring in guys who aren't as good and hand them the number 1 job, that's a culture breaker. That's a culture. Everybody around's going, what are you doing? What about me?
That's hubris. Yeah. It worked. Oh, man, it got it to work last year. I can fix DJU. I'm the guy who can fix DJU. He was broken at Clemson. He goes to Oregon State, plays pretty darn good for Jonathan Smith, but he's toiling in anonymity. Playing at Oregon State ain't like playing at Florida State. It ain't like playing at Clemson. And DJU, for all of his God-given gifts, his biggest problem is between the ears. Nice guy, great guy, all-time human being. But you can see him turn into just basically a big statue because he's freezing.
How did he become a sloth overnight? I never saw him that unathletic. I mean, like, Jesus H. Crow, what the hell happened?
Is he coming back for a 6th year?
I see somebody will pay him. I don't know who. Maybe Holy Cross, but I don't know.
Baseball, if I'm him. I mean, he's got evidently he's got an incredible baseball pedigree. I mean, I have to wonder if he can try to get maybe another year of football.
That would work better for him. He's only got 3 plays he can go to: fastball, curveball, slider. That might work good for him.
He that curveball though.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't have to read a defense.
Well, I forgot though. They have a pitch clock now. Ain't no way he's getting off a pitch in 20 seconds. Hell no. With that wind up. Oh God, I feel so bad for the kid. I mean, it's bad. But I appreciate that perspective. And suddenly here come the Gators. That win over Kentucky kind of shocked me because obviously Kentucky went toe to toe with Georgia. Everybody had Billy Napier, dead man walking Green Mile, man, and now it's all of a sudden, whoops, this dude's going to make a bowl game. Sorry, Gators, you're going to have to keep him.
Well, I had that in my column. It's in the column today. Go to postandcourier.com. I actually had that. If he keeps his job, it's the biggest sign that this entire season was scripted from the beginning because he was dead man walking a year ago. He was. But here's the thing.
3 weeks ago, he was dead man walking. Yeah.
But, they, except maybe the Miami game, have they really looked terrible? Like terrible. I mean, have they?
No.
We've seen Florida State looks far worse, and they're on the other side of this rainbow. That's their 5th win right there. If they can steal one against Ole Miss, I really believe it. What better option is there out there? What better option is there out there? The better option than Billy Napier that they would want is going to be a coach who's either in the playoff or fighting for a playoff right up until the 11th hour. And that's when you start getting into some really dicey areas with regards to the transfer portal. The portal's about to open.
Timing.
Do we make a coaching? Yeah, the timing now is so
really
different.
bad.
So I think status quo is the best option, man. I say give him another year. You're going to save a bunch of money in buyout, and you know what? It gives you an opportunity to start working behind the scenes if you weren't already, which I'm sure they were. Who are we going to get next year?
Right. And DJ Lagway would likely stay if Napier stay. If Napier leaves, I think it's open season on Lagway. So and that's your biggest asset right now. He's a hell of a player and can grow into something really, really special. All right. So as you see it right now, your playoff, what do you, we don't have to do all 12. We don't have to do all 12, but I guess, I mean, if ESPN is already telling me they're getting 5 SEC teams in, and of course, whatever ESPN wants, ESPN gets. It's their playoff. So, I mean, where do you see it falling right now?
Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, and either A&M or LSU. I mean, I know I just expect one of them to fall off eventually. They might not. Yeah. They might win out. I don't know about 5 teams. I've been so hesitant to actually sit down and figure out the playoff because of the logistics of it. Like, I can look at my top 20 teams right now and go, holy crap, any one of these teams could realistically make the playoff.
Yeah.
And the wild card is the way it's set up with the top 4 conference champions.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have a number 11 Iowa State or BYU get in as a 1 through 4 and get a bye.
Yep.
So it's just such a wild card right now, such a crapshoot. Colorado has a legitimate chance to make the playoff. Think about that. Colorado has a legitimate chance to make the playoff. You win the Big 12, you're going to be ranked. You're going to get in. I mean, I'm hesitant to do it right now. So I know we're going to have Oregon. I know we're going to have Ohio State. I presume Georgia. I mean, right now we're basking in the glow of that incredible game the other night, but Georgia has looked fallible at times.
Was that a Kirby Smart special though?
That was they were hunting. That defense was hunting. And I loved it. I got to be honest with you.
That dude is so – even after the game, he couldn't even enjoy it. He was just yelling at anybody he could yell at. The officials suck. You suck. Everybody said worth. Nobody wanted us. Nobody believed in us. I'm like,
nobody believed in us. They won two of the last 3 national
you all picked against us. The refs were against us. How were you number 1 for like 18 years and like nobody believes in you?
I was at Mercedes Stadium for that game against Clemson. And the team I saw dismantle Clemson. It looks pretty good right now, by the way. That was more like the team I saw Saturday night. That was the Georgia War Machine on full throttle. And it makes me wonder what the heck happened in the first half of that Alabama game. What was going on? What were they doing or what were they not doing?
Yeah.
That made them get into such a deep hole against Alabama.
Yeah. And speaking of Clemson, FSU Miami is this week. Miami's probably going to lay 80 on FSU. So it looks like Miami might win an ACC championship. But I don't know. I mean, Clemson, Miami in the championship game, Clemson looks really, really good. I think they figured it out offensively and defensively. They're pretty damn good. I'm just, because I've got nothing else left in my college quiver here. I got to just hate on Miami and think that they're going to choke. Not this week. They'll destroy FSU. But they've already – listen, the ACC War Room has already given them 2 games. Finally the ACC decides that we need to protect our top-ranked team now that it's not FSU. And they've given them 2 wins, so good for them. But I think they're still going to stumble here along the way. But they could still get to the ACC championship. I think it's Clemson and Miami, and maybe both of them get in the playoff.
I think both of them get in. Even a 2-loss Clemson team would get in if that second loss is to Miami in the ACC championship. That's how it's going to work out. You're going to get 2. Maybe SMU though, or maybe we're sleeping on SMU. That's a good.
I don't think they're that good.
Schedule plays out.
Nobody does.
They don't have to be that good,
but they are.
They don't have to be that good though. The schedule is so favorable that you're like Indiana. Indiana could finish the year 11-1. Is Indiana better than Ohio State? I mean, we'll find out when they play. But right now, can you say that? Even if they lose to Ohio State, there's a chance they get in because the schedule worked out well for them. They're going to be 11-1, top 15 Big Ten team. They're going to take them.
Wow.
Well, and we'll know more about SMU this week when they play the Dukies. So we'll have a better picture of them.
And you know what? Manny Diaz, God love his little heart. He's done a great job there. That's a perfect fit for Manny Diaz. Duke.
Hey, listen, Duke got outgained by FSU by 111 yards. Duke sucks.
That's why Manny Diaz is perfect for Duke.
He's perfect. Yeah. No,
Well, and that's Mike Elko's team still, by the way, other than Riley Leonard leaving for Notre Dame.
That was a big hit, though. That was a big hit. Riley Leonard was an unbelievable player. And was he like a basketball guy too down in Florida?
Yeah.
It was Florida, right?
Yeah.
I liked him a lot. Tim, you look good, man. I like that shirt.
Yeah, this is my 2020. When they canceled March Madness, I went and ordered this. Had it made myself.
You mean the year FSU was going to win it all that year?
Yeah, yeah. When they canceled it because of FSU, they made coronavirus just so FSU couldn't win the whole thing.
Speaking of conspiracy theories, everybody knows that
created coronavirus.
Had nothing to do with taking out Trump. It was all about taking out FSU's basketball team. That's what it was.
Always
about.
goes back to sports. Always goes back to sports.
Jesus Christ.
Are y'all done with me?
Yeah, you're dismissed.
Hey Scott,
thank you, Scott. Awesome stuff, bro.
Can we have you back next week? You want to do this kind of on a frequency regular thing?
I mean, how do we define it? I mean, does it have a label? Do I have a theme song?
I will make you a theme song, and I will make you an opening graphic.
Can it have like stars that pop out, like like something from the early '80s? Like Solid Gold or something.
And can we get him a microphone?
We'll get you a microphone too.
Okay.
I already made this graphic that you haven't seen yet with your little bumbling head over there in the corner. How you like that?
I'll be back. You tell me when you need me, and I will get mic'd up so that you hear me really nice.
That bunch of guys right there, I don't know what that looks like, but
some hoodlums right there.
Can you make them float? Can you make those
float?
That's
a bunch of old white guys right there. I don't know what the hell's going on there.
And then how did poor Norm Hitzkiss, the legend, get up there? How is he mixed in with this whole bunch? Poor Norm, I swear.
Johnny's hair is out of control.
Johnny hates his picture.
He looks like one of those gremlin dolls.
Johnny hates his picture.
What's funny is you and Tim, like if you switch them upside down, like Tim, like the if you turn them upside down, it's the same shape. Yeah.
That's very true. That's very true. Too much
fun. Thank you, Scott. That's great stuff.
There he goes.
Yeah, get him a theme song, get him everything. Yeah, absolutely. Oh God,
Scott's a good dude, man. I like Scott a lot.
Right,
he knows his stuff too.
He does. That was good. That was good fun. Guys, I could talk college football forever. It's just it's so much fun, and
we're trying to put together a college football show here on FanStream Sports with Scott, Tito, me, Johnny, you if you want in. We'll just rotate everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to do something for college football here on the network.
We should. That would be a tremendous bunch of hoodlums yelling and screaming about stupid stuff.
So great.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, TJ Reeves will be joining us. He was down on the field for last night's debacle. We'll get his take on that and some other things as well. The Lightning got blasted last night. We have to talk about that.
Yep.
We're brought to you by Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Saw it on the news last night. Guess what? Flood insurance is going up. Not yet. Get it now. Lock in for the next year. 813-877-7799. Clearly, you know by now what we've been telling you for literally a decade or more. Even if you're not in a flood zone, you need flood insurance. And too many people found that out the hard way. 813-877-7799. A human being will answer the phone. You will get great customer service, and you will get insured as soon as humanly possible. They've been doing this for 60 years at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799. Back with TJ Reeves after this. Hey, it's football season, and we welcome back the Gator Report every Monday and Friday, sponsored by the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Just go to the website. You can contact them through there. Scott Jeeves is a tremendous, aggressive attorney and a big Gator fan, so we appreciate him supporting this show and, of course, your Florida Gators. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results, whether it's personal injury or anything else, any law matter at all. It's the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. Give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. TrueBody offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on TrueBody and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. JP here to ask the question, are you planning an event, meeting, or conference? If so, you'll want to call the designers and production professionals at Extravaganza Productions Incorporated. With over 35 years of experience in the events industry, designing and producing every type of small to large event, they can provide a huge resource for design ideas, audio, visual, sound, lighting, decor, and entertainment to turn your event into an incredible experience for the entire audience. Folks, I've worked up close and personal with this group at many national events and Tampa events, and they have unique capabilities that help you save time and money in the planning and execution of your next event. Don't delay. Call these pros today at 813-621-4700 or check out their website at extravaganzaproductions.com. Tell them JP sent you, and they'll provide a free initial consultation for your event. Extravaganza Productions, the best in the business. Golfers, listen up. The hottest new driving range craze has come to Rogers Park in Tampa. The Top Tracer range is now open 10 to 9 p.m. And just like you see on TV, every shot is tracked for yardage and accuracy, giving you immediate feedback. And best of all, you can virtually play the top courses like Pebble Beach or St. Andrews with your buddies. Plus, great food and drink options available in the well-appointed hitting bays. Very comfortable out there. Reservations highly recommended, starting at $25 per hour, including balls. Reserve at RogersParkGolf.net. That's RogersParkGolf.net. See you there.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on Fans.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. For your concierge medicine needs, BAMMC.com has now gone all full concierge, and that's what you need. A doctor who's going to spend time with you, know you personally, give you a personal plan for nutrition, workout, sleep, everything to keep you healthy. Get you the supplements that you need to keep you healthy. Make sure you're eating the right things to keep your gut healthy, which is the entire immune system right there, as we've learned from Chris over the years. So do it for yourself. BAMMC.com. Get someone to direct your medical decisions. It's never more important than these days with Medicine 3.0, brought to you by BAMMC.com. All right, before we get to TJ, we had a lot of great comments coming in today, so I wanted to get to our
Oh my gosh, all the comments tonight.
Really,
today is great.
Really good stuff. Todd Bowles, you will not want to watch this portion of the show. Todd Bowles' absolutely stupid decision-making may have not only cost the Bucs their season, but his job. He should be fired for last night, but he will be fired if this snowballs. Says Bucs basement continues. The game was a blowout heading into the fourth quarter. It is coaching negligence and that the starters were still out there. Evans shouldn't have played. He looked in pain getting up from the touchdown.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Take him out. James does not agree. He is on Team Tim today. So
yes, you and me, James.
All you want for this pathetic defense last night, but to blame him for Godwin is so wrong. I'm not a Bowles homer at all. We know that. But with a minute left, down 10, if Bucs score, anything can happen. Look, you have no timeouts left. Okay, if you recover the onside kick, you have to score and then recover another onside kick. Correct?
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah. There's no chance. There's no chance. And again, had he pulled his starters when Harbaugh pulled his starters, everything would be fine. The game was over. But I get it. I mean, down 10, 148 to play. It was 43 seconds when Godwin got hurt, and they were at their own, 30-yard line? The game's over.
Hey, Godwin made the catch. That's all that matters.
They said, Bucs Babe said, but I hate to break it to you, but when the game was completely over, a minute left in the game, the Ravens had a 99.9% chance of winning the game. Just stop. The injury was avoidable.
Sorry, Basement, you're wrong. But it's okay to be wrong.
Yeezy says lost 70% of our offense in one night. Woo. Yeah. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And this was first guessing on Evans. I said he shouldn't play last night, or they should think very hard about it. And once he gets tweaked, get him out of the game, man.
I mean, he had one catch all night, and it was the touchdown catch.
Last night's game was not as important as the Falcons, and Bowles' stupidity and negligence may have cost us the division, says Bucs Basement. I get it. Yeezy says Lamar had the same amount of touchdowns as incompletions. I know. The defense is just awful. Michael LaRue, good morning to you, says, why was Godwin still in the game? The same mistake was made with Winfield in a blowout win versus Washington. It doesn't seem like Bowles learns from his mistakes.
Because he's trying to win the game.
With a 99% chance of losing.
So all of these guys, you guys that are doing this, that are blaming him for Godwin's injury, had he pulled his starters, y'all would be on here going, man, why did he give up so soon? They had a chance to win the damn game.
No, he wouldn't. I wouldn't be. Anybody who watched that game last night knew that they couldn't stop them. They were never, even if they scored, we're never going to outscore them.
I don't want a coach that's going to pull his starters
scores
with a chance to win the game still.
Well, that's why you now have
I think we differ. That's true. I think we differ on the chance to win the game thing. Like, I still think they had a chance to win the game. Nobody else does.
I don't think so. Michael Sorgel says, cheers, Tim, with your fireball.
By the way, I did a second fireball shot during that last break. So
Rick says, Ray suck, Noel sucks, Bucs are done, and Bolts can't win now. No floors, walls, furniture, or cars. Happy 2024.
There's my 2 fireball shots right there.
I'm going to need a whole bottle because Rick just summed it up right there.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And
no floors, no walls.
And Rick's, that's for real for Rick. I'm laughing at him, but he's got no floors, he's got no walls, he's not got no furniture, and he's got no cars. His Knowles suck. His Rays don't have a home to play in either. Though I have an update on that. And the Bucs are,
by the way, somebody commented.
We need TJ. We need TJ on this Tuesday to bring us some hope, some optimism. Give me something, TJ, so I don't head to the Skyway.
But other than that,
me and Rick are going to take a picture up there.
Other than that, how was the play, Mrs. Lincoln? Right, for Rick, I feel
Rick,
for you.
I'm bringing the fireball. See you at the
Timmy's
Skyway.
got the fireball. I feel for you, Rick. I feel for a lot of people.
God.
I know the drink of choice might have been lighter fluid after Monday Night Football last night. I did not partake.
Well, that's the same thing. Fireball and lighter.
That's
fluid
true.
are the same thing. You did that, right? Yeah.
Rough night, and I understand. I'm using the word vitriol. I understand the vitriol about the injury at the end of the game, and you guys going back and forth. And this is what makes sports talk, sports shows, video, podcast shows. This is what makes what we do. The 2 things that I come away with, I'm not making excuses. The Ravens are really good. And there are a lot of teams that may have crumbled in the first half in that whole dynamic last night when the Bucs jumped out the way they did. No panic from the guys in white and black and purple over there. Lamar Jackson is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Yes.
You know what I was thinking down there after the bomb over the top of me to Rashad Bateman? It was over me and Zion McCollum, as it turned out.
Yeah.
I'm standing down there going, where is Bill Polian?
Yeah, we're both out of position for that one.
True. But, Bill Polian, very esteemed general manager of the Colts, and I know he literally was in Indianapolis on Sunday because they were honoring Dallas Clark and putting him in the Ring of Honor. But figuratively, where are you at, as the kids say, when he was talking over and over again about do not draft this guy? Lamar Jackson. He should be a wide receiver in the NFL.
Oh, everybody said that, though.
That's the reason why the 1980s and 90s football GM personnel type and head coaches aren't personnel types and head coach anymore.
You hear that, Jerry Jones? Time to hang him up.
Because
Doug Williams is forever grateful.
Because that guy is amazing at field level with pick your poison. Do you want to try to keep him in the pocket to throw the ball? Okay. You probably have a better chance at that. But with the read option going and with his ability to step back off the read option and fire it, they were something to watch. And obviously the Buccaneers did their darndest to help them out over and over and over again with blown assignments, the 2 turnovers by Baker Mayfield.
Brutal.
Let the Ravens gain momentum. This is 2 games in a row where the second period you let the other team just score and score like an avalanche. And even still, you're in the game in the third quarter. And as much as I'm going to come back to Lamar doing well and turnovers, defensively, you cannot let them get a 90-yard, 81-yard run, whatever it was, backed up in their own end while the game's still on in the third quarter.
Well, you shouldn't have punted to him in the first place.
Yeah, well, but I mean, then you get a touchdown to try to get back in the game at 34-18, and you let him get out the gate again.
Well, that was
So
my
very
point. Is
frustrating.
when you're watching the game, the Bucs had no chance to come back and win because they couldn't stop the other team.
I cannot go along with no chance because you scored, you got the ball back, and you scored again. And I've seen enough crazy things happen that I cannot respectfully go along with no chance to win the game. Was it only a slight chance to win the game? Yes. I mean, I was down there at field level for the Monday night god-awful game with the Saints where the Bucs had 3 points all the way into the final minute and a half of the game, or maybe 2 minutes at the most without timeouts. And they got the ball, they scored, and then they got the ball back. However they got it back. They maybe called a timeout, got it back with like 30 seconds left. And Brady, I know it's Brady, I know it's the GOAT, let a drive right down the field in the final 40 seconds to win the game. I mean, complete rabbit out of the hat in the final minute and a half of a game. I know Tom Brady's not on the field last night, and I know it's 41-18 and 41-24, but when you got the touchdown and you had gotten the onside kick, I can understand where the football coach is standing over there on the sideline going, we have an opportunity to go get a score, and then who knows what happens. I really thought, while we get into the minutia of this, I really thought they were going to get maybe one more completion if the Godwin play, all things are equal, and he gets up, and then they were maybe going to kick a long field goal with like 40 seconds left, saying, we need 2 scores and an onside kick anyway. Why waste all the time right here on the touchdown? Kick the long field goal, be down by 7. You need the onside kick anyway. I really thought we were headed to that. And then disaster. I understand the vitriol. I get it, Buccaneer fans. He's probably done for the year on a play that ultimately doesn't mean anything at the end. But in the context of could you have still had slight life there to win the game, they had slight life at the very, very end. It's just a tough thing.
Did you hear my my rant earlier about the Cowboys and the Ravens?
I have been dealing with my own travails, my own woes, my own work. But please educate me on what you were spewing earlier in the program.
All I did was say that Bowles was following the Cowboys' blueprint from Week 3 when Dallas was down 21-6 with the Ravens at home at AT&T Stadium, and they came back with some quick scores. They made some stops. They ended up losing 28-25. Also, by the way, a successful onside kick against the Ravens. Both successful onside kicks in the whole league this year have been against the Ravens.
That's a stat.
Yeah, there you go.
By the way, the Buccaneers had not recovered an onside kick, JP Peterson. Do you know this stat? Since 2013. Hello. 11 years.
But they were going to get another one.
He popped it up in the air again. He popped it up in the air again, and the Ravens were ready for it this time.
I know how that works.
I'm just saying, there was a blueprint there. They'd seen the film of the Cowboys game. They said, you know what? We can do this. I'm not going to give up, and that's the attitude I want my coach to have. I don't care what everyone else is saying.
I got you.
I want my team to win the game.
And again, for like the 4th time, I get the anger because he's done. He's more than likely done for the season. Save
he done as a Buck?
And that's another point too.
Think he's done as a Buck?
I don't know, but I think they will. They don't ask me. I don't have coffee and donuts with Jason Light and the Glazers.
What?
But I think they will do everything they can to bring him back.
And he's not going to get a huge ton.
Yeah, but that's a whole different. That's a whole different. That's a whole different argument for a whole different day. Right now, you're in the mourning period because he is such a phenomenal guy, Timmy. And for the audience, we can't convey this enough. No, phenomenal individual. Can I share something with you on the JP Peterson show? He and his wife and their family were helping hurricane victims on their own time while all this craziness was going on after the Saints game when they got back. I know that because I know people that live in their area. Phenomenal people, leader in that locker room. So it is devastating to not have him. But guess what? I'm selling optimism during this moment on the show. The season ain't over. You got 10 more games to go, right? How many ever more games to go? It is 9 more games to go. You got a lot of season left, and you're going to have to figure it out with the guys you have and hopefully get number 13 back healthy at some point. Yes. I don't know if that's a couple of games from now, if it's after the bye week. They'll have to update us. We know in the past when he has had, Mike Evans, a hamstring injury, it has been a 3 or 4 week thing. I hope that it's not a 3 or 4 week thing. We got to be realistic about that. But with Sterling Shepard and Trey Palmer and Jalen McMillan, next man up. Somebody has got to deliver as a go-to guy. And I'll tell you another name. Devin Culp is out there running around with Cade Otton, and he is an athletic tight end, and maybe that's another guy they start to utilize. Rashad White can catch the ball. Maybe he goes into the slot some. I know you've been bringing that up.
What about Marquez Callaway? What do we know about him?
Marquez Callaway, who has experience with the Saints and another team, I don't know who else he was with, and has made some plays. Okay, you got to go next man up.
He had
play with
40-some catches, 600 yards, 5 touchdowns in 2021 with the Saints.
Okay, so that's been a little bit, but he has NFL experience. Go ahead, give me a name.
Would you guys like to deal with the Cowboys and receive Brandon Cooks in exchange?
Well, how much does he have left? I mean, he's
been injured, right?
He's dealing with the knee this year, but not anything major. It kept him out of week 6, but they had to buy in week 7.
I don't know what's there. I don't know if you give up. I mean, you guys were talking. I saw you and Peter on the post game just briefly for a moment or two. You were talking about, do you go to the Jets and see if they give you Garrett Wilson? They're going to want like a 1st or 2nd round pick. Do you do that? Do you go all in and get that? Would they fundamentally be willing to part with him?
I don't think
the Jets, and I don't think
so. No.
So you got to go with the guys you have. Is my point.
Well, listen, so I did this at the end of last night's postgame show, and I'll ask you to do the same thing. What scenario do you see? How does this offense evolve? And give me a little bit more than next man up. Does the running game become a focal point? I talked to Gedeke and Graham Barton about that last night. They're ready to go, and I think I think there's a way home here. It might involve going and getting. I think you got to go get a guy, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Devontae Adams, but an experienced receiver who's done it in this league, and I can see a way through. But your defense has got to get
there's probably another guy or two still out there that you're looking for. But Marquez Callaway might be that guy that can supplement with Shepard, who Baker Mayfield trusts. And again, I have a lot of belief in Jalen McMillan. I mean, he struggled a couple of times last night on comeback to the football, but this is work in progress. And you're right on running the football. And I have a bigger issue right now with defensively. In that game, in that second half last night, you've got to be much more on point than what they were. Repeatedly out of their area, out of their lane,
a lot of
overrunning plays. I know the Ravens are tough, but the Buccaneers made it easier on them last night with some of those big plays in the second half. I mean, you were still in the game. You still had opportunity, but you're giving up an 81-yard run, and you're giving up a 49-yard bomb, and then you're giving up another 60-yard run. You're not going to come back.
That's why I say they weren't in the game. And that's, at 6:48, they score in 41-18. It's not just that they scored. It's just that they went down the field easily for the 7th consecutive time.
And at the 2-minute warning, it's 41-31, and you're kicking an onside kick.
Yeah,
I've seen this too many times before with weird, stupid things. I understand why they were still battling, and it is a 60-minute game. I mean, that playoff game, I know it's the GOAT. I know it's Tom Brady. Playoff game with the Rams. You're down 21 in the 4th quarter. And it required a 4th down conversion run for a touchdown by Fournette. It required a bomb to Mike Evans. It required getting the ball back 3 times,
here's the thing,
which they did, and they got the game.
This is game 7. And you got the Falcons next week. This is my biggest.
I'm with you.
This is like when you take it in totality. This is where your head coach and your organization has to say, lose the battle, win the war.
I guarantee you. You want to guarantee? I guarantee you on that sideline, when they got the touchdown to make the game 41-31, there was zero thought about the Atlanta Falcons coming 6 days from now, my friend. They're not standing over there in that moment going, onside kick, what's the defense, what's the timeouts? We should give up because we have Atlanta in 6 days.
No, they should have done that at 6:48.
Zero chance in that moment. Once you had already gotten an onside kick and you were about to attempt it again, that they're thinking about Atlanta. They are thinking these jokers might be able to help us one more time win this football game. They already helped you once with the backwards pass and the lateral.
Yeah.
And open the door. And from there, you'll play to the end. I will come right back at you that you play until the end. I've seen it too many crazy times. All right, so there you go.
Fair enough.
There you go on that one. And now where do you go from here? And one of those things has got to be defensively. In the back half of the defense, get your act together. Get your act together with run fits, with people not in position in zone defense.
Yeah.
My God, I mean, had the Ravens figured it out after like the first or second series? Go 5 to 7 yards and sit down right in the zone.
Yeah, it's so hard. And I said this before the game, and this is the hard part. It's so hard to play man against the Ravens because you start playing man, they run everybody across the field. The left side of the field's wide open. That joker gets out and he's gone for 80 yards.
He's gone.
And every you can do it on so many different plays. Just clear it out, and he can just run all day long and say contain him. It's not that easy. The guy's uncontainable. He's so freaking good.
The one thing, and I have not seen the tape, and I don't see the same replays again that you're seeing up high. You're seeing it up high. You're seeing replays on the monitor. There was more than one occasion where somebody lost contain on the end, and they
it happens all the time.
Over and over and over again. But I'm talking about Buccaneers now. Let's talk about what the Buccaneers can clean up. Over and over and over again, you cannot continue to duck inside, spin inside, and you're the guy
at the edge
responsible. I mean, there's another play. I'm just going to single the name out. And I believe, is it the play where Henry got all the way out the gate or Lamar got out the gate for like 20 yards in the fourth quarter, where Logan Hall is there on the end and he's completely confused on, do I have a zone responsibility? And there's no receiver there. So he backs up 5 steps where there's no one. And Lamar just says, thank you, and runs right to the left end and gets a first down. That confusion is fixable. That has got to be cleaned up. For Joe Tryon, Shoyinka, Diaby, Anthony Nelson, whoever's out on that end, Chris Braswell, keep your contain lane. Now, you don't have that same problem with Atlanta with Kirk Cousins, but keep your contain lane in the scheme that you're trying to run. Listen to me playing defensive coordinator on the JP Peterson show.
Somebody needs to.
On FanStream. But all hope is not lost. All hope is not lost here. Long way to go.
There's a lot of season left. There's a lot of season left. There's a lot of ways to win games.
And there's a lot of very winnable games at the end of the year, just like last year. So stay tuned.
And that's my way forward. Get Mike back in 4 weeks. If you can get one of these games out of the next 3, great. And then you can go on a run at the end of the season and get to 10 wins. You can do it. And it just get Mike back. If you go get another receiver, your defense has got to be better, and you got a chance. You got a chance to do some damage. I mean, it just feels like you lost.
What would you give? I'm just throwing this out there. What would you give the Titans, who are awful, for DeAndre Hopkins?
Does D-Hop have anything left?
Does he have anything left? But he's a threat.
Some of these older receivers.
What would you give them? I'm just saying hypothetically. These are the fun things on this show. This is what you got to think about.
I'd give them a 4. Because I think
you've got to find a bad team. I mean, the Raiders already gave away Devontae Adams. You got to find a bad team
with a good receiver
that's got a decent receiver that would be willing to give you to him. And maybe they're just going to roll with Callaway and Shepard as the veterans, hope to get Mike back and go with the younger guys, because you got a couple of other practice squad guys that you like in the preseason, and run the football some, and use the tight ends and use Rashad White. And maybe that's what they're going to go with. Maybe that'll be the case.
Please ask for CeeDee Lamb. Y'all can have him.
Not happening.
According to Troy Aikman, he doesn't run very good routes, which is
he doesn't. He runs terrible routes.
It's terrible. Yeah.
And I have no idea, what they were saying at the end of the game between Joe Buck and Troy Aikman about Godwin still being in the game and try to win the game. So I'm fascinated to go back and listen to that discussion, because that game just kind of evolved.
Well, they talked a little bit about the Evans, and I said on yesterday's show, I'm not sure Evans should be playing in this game because of Atlanta next week. And then when he tweaks his hamstring, then you definitely, I would put him on the shelf, but whatever. Still trying to win. I get it. Just real quickly, because I got you here and your great expertise in this market, and I know you love the Rays as well.
Yes.
So
shall we let them in on the discussion that was around the prime rib last night up in the
just to add to it, I went down to chat with some of the folks in the TSA and just get a feeling for what logistically is needed to get Steinbrenner Field ready to go.
Okay.
And basically what they told me was, look, it's logistically it's difficult. That sharing a stadium is difficult, but it's not impossible and very doable. They have, 70 dates with the Tampa Tarpons, but that's a big stadium. They have other fields that they could play at and other stadiums that they could play off. It's up to the Yankees to basically work with the Rays and make it happen. And the word is that the Yankees would not obstruct the Rays from doing such. It would help them out because Major League Baseball wants them to stay in this market and not go to Orlando or some other place. And to me, if it's doable, that should be without question the number one option, whatever the cost is, to stay in this market. What are your thoughts?
I shared with you last week, I would love to see them maybe move it around, not to 5 locations, but maybe to 2 or 3 locations and work around those schedules. And the important thing is the Florida State League and all of these major league clubs, that can be negotiated by Major League Baseball. That's fronting that and saying to the teams, we've got a displaced team. They can't play in their stadium. Right. We've got to figure something out. I do not buy in at all with go to Orlando and stay in Orlando, especially when you have a signed agreement that allegedly is going to be your path forward to stay in St. Petersburg and Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, you're stamping out your own fan base if you're doing that. I don't see Major League Baseball allowing that one. But then again, I'm wrong a lot on these kind of things. So who knows? But that's just me. I would like to see them play, because then you're servicing both. Play in Pinellas County, play in Hillsborough County, play a homestand here, a homestand there, and work through it. I know you hear the angst. You hear the angst from the minor league people that are, we've got our this is Major League Baseball. And by the way, the Toronto Blue Jays played in Dunedin on top of the Florida State League team for the entire season in 2021. For the entire season they played there.
Exactly. And we're talking about,
or I shouldn't say the entire season, at least the first half of the season. They played their home games in Dunedin around a Florida State League team. We've seen it done before, is my point.
And we're not talking about AAA teams that are drawing, like Durham are dropping 10,000 a night.
No offense. If they have a big night,
1,000 people.
Right. If they have a big night because of the fireworks and the dollar hot dogs, they get 1,500 people instead of 700 or 300. So find a way to make it work. I'm kind of on board with share it with Pinellas and Hillsborough, with whatever they come up with, and stay tuned. Stay tuned on what does Major League Baseball allow, because there's some belief they would go down to Port Charlotte and just stay down there.
That's awesome.
And the teams would fly in and out of Fort Myers, and that's where they would be. And they would say to anybody that wants to come down here, but I don't agree with that one either. They're not asking me.
Terrible.
They're not asking me on a Tuesday.
But for the fans, I think it's all about Tampa, Steinbrenner Field.
There's an argument there, and we were having this argument around the prime rib with the mashed potatoes and the green beans while we were all standing there, that if you come to Legends Field and have 15,000 there every night and everybody's all amped up, then people are going to be going, why are you building that thing again in downtown St. Pete?
That's already been
another
done.
Part of the argument.
But that deal is done, and that argument has been made, and we were right, they were wrong, but they still built it anyway. They're still going to build it anyway. Whatever. At least you're serving your fans. And listen, 3 years of good baseball outdoors in Tampa, you're going to build your fan base, not reduce fan base. You're going to build your fan base. So when you do open this place, people are used to going to Rays games. They love going to Rays games, and they're going to keep going to Rays games because you've made it fun, and they're attached to the team. Leave the market and try and build a stadium and come back.
Right. I mean, you go to Orlando, and let's be honest, you might be like a Florida State League team with 1,000 people in the ballpark watching Major League Baseball.
Nobody's coming.
How many people from Tampa Bay are going to go battle I-4
at that time of night?
Oh my God.
It's packed solid from 27 all the way to Disney. That's
yes.
another 45 minutes to an hour.
I mean, let me give you. I know you got to go.
That's
I got to go.
baseball traffic.
I know you got to go, but on Saturday I drove this because I went to the boxing right there on International Drive, right after Disney on I-4.
Yeah.
I was in the car from my home in Lutz for 2.5 hours, starting at 4:30, trying to be there for 7 o'clock because they were opening the doors at 7 o'clock, starting the fights at 8. 2.5 hours. So how many people from Tampa Bay are going to go do that on a regular basis for weeknight games? I submit.
Settle.
All right,
partner. Love you. Thanks, man.
By the way, the
Nothing
But Bucs podcast will be out a little later today. There's a lot of Ravens on it. There's a lot of Buccaneer highlights on it. I give you some insights, some interviews. That'll be out here in a little while. Wherever you get podcasts, and also the Buccaneers mobile app, Buccaneers.com. We got that. Hang in there. Creamsicles this week with the Falcons.
Yes.
And you win that game, and you're right back in the thick of things in the NFC playoff picture. Welcome to the crazy world of professional sports. So let's see what happens on that.
All right, TJ.
Other than that,
love
be
you,
well,
brother.
my friends.
Thanks. So we'll end this incredibly wonderful podcast the way we started it.
It's been a show.
It's with a shot of Fireball. No, I wish I had one. It's a tough night for Buc fans, and given what's happened over the past few weeks, it's another gut punch. I mean, that was the thing we had left was our Buccaneers, and that got gutted last night. I mean, they ain't no sugarcoating it. They ain't no sugarcoating it.
It's gonna
they
be
ain't
fun.
dead, but it's we're barely breathing. But we got a pulse.
Give Jason a couple of weeks to work his magic.
We got a pulse. Let's see what happens. Jason Light works some magic. Still got a lot of good players on his football team. You got an easy schedule. It's manageable. You got a chance. And hopefully Todd Bowles will learn from this and we'll be better in the future. Big thanks to Scott Reynolds, who joined us for the Pewter Report, to Scott Hamilton. That was fun, who joined us. College Football Insider. We'll do that each and every week. And, of course, TJ Reeves. And you, Tim Ham, great job to you. Appreciate the debate, even though you were wrong. Because you're drunk.
I'm used to being wrong.
Drunk. The guy drinking Fireball.
I'm bringing Fireball with me for the studio next week.
All right, we got to christen it. Absolutely. All right, we got to have a bar right in that room anyway. We're going to do it old school.
Hell yeah.
All right, thank you guys for joining us. Don't forget, you can always listen to this crazy show as a podcast each and every day. Wherever you get your podcast, please like and subscribe there as well. We will see you tomorrow. The sun will come up tomorrow. Bet your butt. Oh, shut up. Have a good day, everybody.